All right. All right. So here we go. Here we are. Here we go. Here we are. First of all, to start this off, let's just say that we will be using other individuals' copyrighted materials, and there is a thing called fair use. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody. Now, we're not out here making fun of anyone, so we certainly won't be using it for that. But it doesn't infringe on their copyright when we do so for the purposes of edifying the family. Hey, Mishpachah, how you doing? How are you doing? Okay, so listen, I'm going to kill the background music and we're just going to get into it. And I want to tell you something that we need to stay accountable. You know I do this every time. We need to stay accountable, keep our heads down and our hands up, trying to remain humble as much as we can. And in doing so, we have to make sure that we are in the right place when we do this, mentally, spiritually, physically. We can't just be haphazardly throwing ourselves to the wind. A lot of people worship that which they don't know. And, Yeshua Messiah said the same thing. The Mashiach said the same thing. You worship that you know not. And so because of that, we want to make sure that when we do keep our head down and our hands up, that we are calling on the name of Yahweh, Yeshua. We want to make sure we're using that name, right? And then we have to search the scriptures daily. Every day we have to keep our head in this somehow. And it doesn't take much, maybe an hour, 15 minutes. If you can't do an hour, do 15 minutes. You got to get up and do something else and do 15 minutes again. I had someone tell me recently, family member, that every time they crack the book, they fall asleep. That says something to me. It says quite a bit to me. So, Mishpachah, we want to make sure that we don't fall asleep. If you have to, get up and walk around. Carry the book with you. I have it on my phones. I have it on my tablets. I'm not immune. Sometimes I sit in that recliner over there. That chair is so comfortable that the spirit of slumber hits me, pow. And I wake up, man, what happened? And I get right back on it. I don't just get up and go do something else. So there's some things that I want to talk about. A couple things I want to get to. And the main thing is why is it so hard for us to try to keep the law and the commandments? And I can tell you that for the most part, it's a spiritual war. Not only is it part of the curses, but it's a spiritual war. Trust me, your adversary does not want you to know anything or learn anything about the law and the commandments. Okay? Your adversary does not care if you get up on Sunday morning and go do sun worship. And I'm not talking about S-O-N sun, I'm talking about S-U-N sun. Because there's nothing in our scriptures that tells us to go and do church on Sunday morning. Listen. First of all, our culture and our heritage says synagogue and Sabbath. Yet our oppressors, when we got here to this country, we're the descendants of slaves. Our oppressors gave us Sunday and took away that Hebraic part that we had, which was our Shabbat, our Sabbath. So we had to give up our Hebraic and our Hebraisms and take on that of Christianity. Okay, if you watch B'nai Israel's videos, you'll see, and you have seen, that in the 14th century, The Spanish Inquisition was about the black Jews in Spain getting kicked out and sent into Portugal, and from there, the Dum Diversas was created by by Pope Nicholas, asked for by King John, to set all of the Hebrews who would not convert to Christianity on the west coast of Africa and take their children and sell them into slavery. That's Deuteronomy 28. History agrees with the scriptures, and it doesn't take much to do the research. However, we've been so heavily indoctrinated with the Willie Lynch syndrome, and and you've heard me say this before. Willie Lynch said that if we do this correctly, we'll never have to do it again because it will reset itself in perpetuity. It will continue on. We won't have to do it again. And you can just look at us in every city and in every county that we're in here in these United States of America, how broken we are as a people. And the scripture says that we would be destroyed. Now, it didn't say destroyed as in completely wiped out. But trust me, if you can't look at Chicago and Detroit and the Fifth Ward in Texas and see how we're broken as a people, we're broken. And we're destroyed as a people. Wow, we're destroyed. We don't have our heritage. We don't have our culture. We can't even come together to agree on things, to agree so that we can get something. We can't. That's how destroyed we are. We're so destroyed that we attack one another. We're so destroyed that, brothers and sisters, this is how I know we're living in the last days. That brothers and sisters, blood brothers and blood sisters, are at war with one another. I said in the beginning of the year, January, a lot of you saw the video, I said I did not want to war and beef with my family anymore. However, these Negroes will not stop warring and beefing with me. And I have to learn how to not war and beef with them. I've been fighting for so long, like I said before. Been fighting for so long that the Father's working on me to be humble and learn to be humble. I don't have that capacity fully as yet. However, it is something that I desire. But in order to be humble, you have to be left alone for a while so that the Father can work that out in you. I grew up in the system. I was listening to Scarface today. Never seen a man cry till he seen a man die. And the opening lyric, that boy coming out of jail, coming home to see his father, he greets his father with his hands out, rehabilitated slightly, glad to be the man's child. My father never came to get me. But that was me, getting out. I grew up in the system. And coming out of the system, the Father had to deal with me in a particular way. Because the family that was supposed to protect me, and I've said this in other videos, the family that was supposed to protect us and nurture us didn't. My mother actually threw me to the wolves. So I had to fight. And so being a humble man is not easy for me. However, it is something that I strive for because I like peace. I don't like fighting. I don't like it. I do not like it. But my family takes me there all the time. And I think sometimes it's because they know how to press my buttons and I let them. It's my family. So this is how I know we're living in the last days, because the scriptures tell us that, the time will come when there'll be mother against father, or mother against son, and daughter against mother, and so forth and so on. Well, I know where I am because it's my nephew and me and my sister and my nieces and my great, because I desire so much for my family to get on board with what it is that we are doing and that we know about, that when they don't, it breaks my heart. But the problem is that they challenge me in a fashion to where it ruffles my feathers because of the way that they challenge me. And it's like, if you would just listen and take the information and go off and do your research, then there would be nothing to quibble about, because you just take the information and go off and do your research. But that's not what happens. They want to contend and challenge. And I'll give you a recap on a conversation that just recently happened. Because the hardest thing for me to do is to kick a family member out of my life. And I've walked away from the family before for almost 20 years. And I had to, well, I didn't have to. I was suckered into coming back into this wacky, crazy thing. But I'll tell you about it. Last Wednesday, I had a phone call. I was called on the phone. Well, I missed a phone call. Let's say it that way. I missed a phone call from my blood sister. And when I missed the phone call from my blood sister, the phone call itself was about a family member who had passed away. Okay. Now, the family member is in that picture there. And as I'm being told about this family member that I don't know, because I didn't grow up around these people. These are my people, this is my family, but I didn't grow up around them. A vast majority of them I don't even know. They're all strangers to me. So my mother, who is in the picture, standing behind, there's a lady sitting down with a white hat on. That's my grandmother, and I'm in her lap. My mother is standing directly behind her mother, which she's wearing like a pantsuit. There's a young woman in a white dress standing in front of her. You should be able to see my mother clearly. I've pointed her out before. And there's the three of us, me in Granny's lap, and then Mama standing behind Granny. Somewhere in this picture is a young woman who just died. And my sister called me to tell me about this cousin who had just recently died, right? So while you're trying to tell me about this cousin who just recently died, I'm actually just going through a scenario with my mother, because my mother is now hospitalized. And whenever my phone rings and my sister's trying to talk to me, I'm trying to talk to my sister about Mama. My sister wants to talk about everything under the sun, usually, except Mama. Whenever I go to visit Mama, I'm the one that picks up my phone and does a messenger in the room with Mama so that my sister can talk to Mama. Every time. I think maybe my sister has called me once. My mother's been hospitalized since March 11th. You've called me once. And every other time that the phone rings, it's me dialing out to my sister so that she can talk to my mother. Now, last week, I asked Mama, do you want to talk to her? Mama said no. I waited 15, 20 minutes and I dialed her up anyway. My mother didn't even want to talk to her. It's hard to tell someone your mama don't want to talk to you. But you see, my mother knows some truth about the situation. And my sister doesn't know that Mama knows this truth. Because I told Mama. And I told Mama, if you don't believe me, ask her for yourself. Well, now Mama's in a condition and she can't ask her for herself. But trust me, Mama knows. And so that's kind of what I want to hit on and touch on a little bit. It just, it irritates me. It really does, Mishpachah. And it's hard to, here we go. Well, this is the one I want. No. I'm in, where's my, right here? Okay. So I'm in, I'm doing some things in the background. New piece of software. I hope the video is rolling all right, and I hope that the audio is sounding good, because I am not monitoring directly. I have to go out of the software and go look and see how it's doing. But apparently, it seems to be okay. Let me check real fast. Okay. Yeah, seems to be doing okay. All right, so the first thing that I want to talk about before we go too deep into anything is, why is it so hard for us as a people? Why is it so hard for us to just to try to keep the law and the commandments and find our way back home? I see. Thank you. I pulled up another page that I can monitor from, and I see that. Thank you. So it looks like it's a lot better than it had been, apparently, and that I have to attribute to the new software. But again, there's a learning curve on this, and I'm I'm still finding my way around with it. So if the ride is a little bumpy, trust me, the pilot apologizes. But I'm trying to figure out why it's so hard for us to keep the law and not fall into sin. So first of all, let's look at this, and let's first ask this question. This is the first place I want to go. And I'm going to pull my notes up here, because I'm going to draw from my notes. Again, like I said, my sister called me, and I missed a call. So I returned the call, and the call was to tell me that a cousin of ours, whom I didn't even know had died, right? And she's saying all of this to me while she's sitting outside. Now, whether she was smoking a cigarette or not, I don't know. But that's usually why one would go outside, is to smoke a cigarette. And it's easy to sit on camera and talk to somebody and keep the cigarette out of the way, and turn the camera, act like you're doing something, and get your puff on, or what. I don't know what you were. I don't care, but I know that the conversation started because I said the conditions under which we live are a direct reflection of the choices that we've made in our lives, and she disagreed with me. And so I tried to explain to her in a nice way, because my family doesn't let me be nice. And usually when you're with family, you can get a little rough. You can get a little raw, because that's family, right? If I'm talking to someone outside who doesn't know what I know or doesn't know me, then, I'm going to be nicer. I'm going to be softer, But with someone who knows, and they know, no, you break out the belt and the ironing cord. That's what Mama used to do. Mama knew that you knew better. That's why you got a whooping. That's why you got your butt tore up, because Mama knew you knew better. Okay? Now, when you're dealing with someone who is outside and you're trying to bring them in, you're going to be a little softer with them. I mean, even Mashiach, Yeshua, when he went in the temple, he wasn't being nice with those money changers. He looked around because he knew they knew better. Those were Hebrews. They knew that it was synagogue and not church. They knew it was Shabbat or Sabbath and not Sunday worship. He knew they knew better. That's why he sat down and just watched them, patiently braided up a whip as he was watching them. And when he stood up, don't think he was a nice man when he started kicking some tail. I wanted to use another word, but we're going to keep it PG tonight. Okay? And when you best believe that when he started beating the crap out of them, he was not being nice, and he probably wasn't talking nice either, because those were Hebrews who knew better. So when you know better, you're supposed to do better. But the same thing that Mashiach was dealing with then, some hard-headed, stiff-necked Negroes, is the same thing that we're dealing with now. And I'm saying that to say that while I'm talking to my sister, she's telling me she's cooking ribs. I can't eat beef. Yes, you can. You just want ribs. You want pork ribs. You want pork. You want to eat swine. That's what you want. Okay? So when I started talking to her about her sin and the dietary laws, all of a sudden, you can't judge me. You ain't God. That's why nobody listens to you, because you don't know how to talk to nobody. You always think you know so damn much. That's what I get. That's what's said to me. Okay? And I get it every time I start talking about sin and dietary laws. Every time. That's exactly where it goes. You see, because Israel does not want to face. They want their niceties. I want my ribs. I want my ham hocks. I want my pig feet. I want my pigtails. I want everything swine. I don't want to live under the commandments. It's too hard. It's too rigorous. Plus, my pastor said we don't have to keep the law. Nowhere in the scriptures. Nowhere. And this is how I know when people don't read. Because when I say to you, well, show me where it says we don't have to keep the law. Well, when I find it, I'll show it to you. That says to me you'll never find it. Because you don't even know where it is. You're running your mouth with no backup. However, I can show you where we have to keep the law and the commandments. See, and I don't even have to do it from the Old Testament. I can do it from the New Testament. As a matter of fact, I can go into Revelation and show you. Because, see, that's the end of the book. And that's where Christ comes. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But Leviticus 11:7 says, because it's a dietary law, right? And the swine, though he divide the hoof, see, he's got to have a cloven hoof or divided hoof. He's got to chew the cud also. And this says that even though he has a divided hoof and he be cloven footed, he doesn't chew the cud. He is unclean to you. Deuteronomy 14:8. And the swine, because it divided the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud, it is unclean to you. You shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. Deuteronomy 14:8. Look it up. You can't even touch it. So when you're cooking ribs, you're touching the carcass of an animal that the Father says you're not supposed to. You're unclean. It's unclean. The moment you touch it and you start to see, I said this before, but I'm gonna tell you how the Father got me to stop eating. I was cooking a pot of chitlins. No, I hadn't even cooked the pot yet. I was cleaning them in the sink. And I had them soaking in a pot. You buy a bucket of 40 pounds and you clean it, you got 20 pounds, right? I had 2 buckets. I used to love me some chitlins. Funk the whole house up to eat me some. I'm trying to keep it PG. Some chitlins. I almost said it. But anyway, cleaned the chitlins, had them soaking, went and laid down, took a nap. Had a dream. The dream had me on my knees in front of the toilet, up to my elbows in fecal matter in the toilet. squeezing the fecal matter between my fingers, watching it ooze through my fingers. And I'm like, what am I doing? What is this? Why am I doing this? In my dream now. That's what I'm saying. Because I could not stop myself from doing it. But I realized what's going on. And when I woke up, I was in a fright. Sweating all over the bed in the whole night because I was fighting to come up out of that dream. The Father did that to me on purpose. You want to eat these Linton's? Then go play in the toilet and up to my elbows. I was going to cook the pot and give it to the dogs, and I remember a play I was in the 5th grade. It was like not fit for man or beast. I said, this is not fit for man or beast. I threw them away. I can't even feed this to my dogs. That smell stayed on me for, it was, I got it off me in after showering the whole night. But every time I turn around, all I smelled. It literally made me sick, turned my stomach. I was done with pork. It was done. I said, okay, you said it's over. It's over, man. You got to tell me twice. I quit smoking cigarettes the same way. Father did me the same way with cigarettes. When he says it's time for you to quit because he's moving you somewhere, he's doing something with you. When he says it's over, it's over. And trust me, you don't need a patch. You don't need anything you will not go through withdrawals. But trust me, I do not miss pork. I did not have a pork withdrawal, didn't want no bacon, sausage, whatever. As a matter of fact, when I walk into work now and they're preparing the sausage to go on the pizza, as soon as I smell it, I get sick. I hurry up and get to the back of the building. I don't even want to smell it. Okay. So I'm having this conversation with my sister. Okay. And I said to her, your mother's DNA identifies her as an L2, L3 Hebrew, and you won't even walk in that. I do. No, you don't. I do. No, you don't. Because if you did, you'd be trying to find out who you are and trying to walk in your Hebraism. And I told you 3 years ago, no, you didn't. Yes, I did. I told you 3 years ago, I did, and you still don't know the Father's name. I do. Okay. Now, this is a different sister. The other sister that I went through this with is, she's my sister, but my father was a Rolling Stone, and so she has a different mother. But this is my blood sister. We have the same mom, we have the same dad. And I said, what is his name? She said, God. I said, here we go again. No, God is a title. What is his name? His name is God. No. She said, Messiah. I said, no. Messiah is a title. She said, his name is God, and that's been working for me. And I said to her, Lucifer is a god to those who worship him, and they pray in his name. His name is Lucifer, and he is their God. So what's the name of your God? He told Moses, why don't you know it? And then she says, that's just your opinion, and you don't get to judge me. And so I said, it's not my opinion when it's written in Scripture, and I'm not judging you. So that's what Israel says, and that's what Israel does when Israel does not want to obey. When Israel wants to stay in their stink and their mire of the pig pen. The prodigal son had sense enough to realize that the servants in his father's house ate better than the pigs that he was taking care of. It's amazing that the father used a pig to get that story across to us. That the son was able to see that living in the world and squandering his inheritance, the servants in his father's house lived better than he was living now, when he thought everything was so great out in the world. Until he realized that the servants in his father's house was living better than he was living right now. And he was in a pig pen. He said, I can go to my father's house and be a servant, live better than this. And so that's what he did. But you see, when he came home, his father recognized that he had learned and had recognized the error of his ways. And what did Dad do? Dad treated him like a son who had just returned home from the war. You went off in the world and you had your hat handed to you, and now you're back and you're ready to behave. And that's the way the Father looks at us. But we have to first want to come home. Why is it so hard for Israel to get this? Because we've been Willie lynched, and the reset continues to happen, and it will continue to happen in perpetuity until a person has a mind to want to turn around and come back to the Father. But the sad part about it is that a lot of them won't, and the scriptures say that 2/3 are going to perish. So the way I look at it now, my family could be a part of that 2/3, because he says he'll save 2 of a family, 1 of a city, in order so that the tribes can continue, the seed can continue. So I did my mother's DNA, and that's how a lot of this got started. But I was already coming down this path anyway, and then the Father started to direct me. I'm afraid I will lose. I'm not afraid. That's a figure of speech I'm using, because I'm not afraid, emotionally afraid or psychologically afraid. It's a figure of speech when I say I'm afraid. Let me say it this way. I probably will lose my mother. I probably will lose my sister. Both of them going out of here outside of the will of the Father. See, there are people who want to claim that they're bruised, but they don't want to walk in the thing that makes you a brew. The thing that makes you a brew is obeying the statutes, laws, and commandments. And if you're not doing that, then you're not going to make it out of here alive. You are going to lose your one undying soul, because you refuse to do that which is right. And yeah, I'm on the page, I'm monitoring. I see the green face. Yeah, I was green, trust me. I was green. I was literally sick. And I actually wasn't gonna put a C on mine. I was had an S on mine. But I'm trying to keep it family friendly, so I said, we got to keep it PG, so I don't want to say that. But people in the know, they know. So that's the thing. So so here we are. And I find myself in this position. And so I want to say that, let me see if I can bring this up. Here we go. So I was saying initially, what is sin? See, we have to first realize what sin is and address it as such before we can do anything about it. Now, I went into my Strong's Concordance and I said, Father, how is this broken down so that a person can understand it? And trust me, folks, I don't have this in order, because usually when I'm doing a study like this is for myself. And when I do something for you guys, then I put stuff in order and, itemize it and put it in order and the whole nine. But I didn't do that because this has been weighing on me in a way, because I was going to come out here and just go both barrels, unload, and just go full hog. And I said, but I can't do that. I can't do that. Because if anyone who doesn't know our culture and our heritage, they're going to look at this like it's like I'm crazy. So I have to try to approach it in a way that does make some sense. So I'm just going to use my notes as we go through this. And so the first one is a Hebrew word, 2401. You can look it up in your Strong's Concordance, and it's kata'ah. Kata'ah. It's it's an offense, and there's a sacrifice for it. That's the definition of sin. And then there's kata'ah, which is a Chaldee pronunciation, and there's an offense, and the penalty or sacrifice for it is a sin offering. Okay, and then you have 2402. That's 2403, which pretty much says the same thing, and it's like an offense, sometimes habitual sinfulness. Right? That's habitual sinfulness is like, eating pork. There we go. Habitual sinfulness. Eating pork, is against the dietary law. The dietary law is a law. It's not a dietary, well, if you want to keep it. No, it's a dietary law. It's a law. And if you break the law, there's a penalty for it. Eating swine is breaking the law. Okay? So it's a penalty, and its penalty occasions sacrifice or expiation. It's an offender, punishment of sin. There's purification for it, and there's a sin offering for that. Okay. Now those are the softer sins, because there is a sin that is not unto death, and these are them. These are the sins that are not unto death. However, sin is transgression of Jehovah's law. So here we see the Hebrew word ma'al. It's treachery. That is sin. Falsehood, grievously sore. It's transgression. See this? You see how bad this is? See, the other ones were very soft. These are hard. These are hard. These are sins unto death, because treachery is a sin that'll get you killed. Falsehood. You're not supposed to lie on your brother, lie on your neighbor. You're not supposed to lie. That falsehood, this is grievous. Grievous is something pretty bad. Sore, S-O-R-E, that's not a sore you have on your arm. This is grievously sore. This is very bad. This is transgression. This will get your life taken by the Most High. These are the sins that are a sin unto death. And when I say death, I mean the lake of fire, death. You don't get to live in eternity with these. These get your life taken. Okay? There's pesha, right? Hebrew, it's a revolt. This is a national and moral or religious. This is rebellion. This is where we are today. Israel is a rebellious house. We are so rebellious. See, you would have to be willing to have yourself in my position, have to be willing. And the Father knew that I could take it. That's why he gave me that dream. With my arms up to my elbows in poop and urine in a toilet, on my knees in front of my own toilet, squeezing it through my fingers, just playing in the toilet like it's a doggone thing to do. But he knew when I woke up I'd be so disgusted, it'd be a wrap for me. But you know what? He could give that same dream to my sister. That nigga will wake up and go eat them ribs. I don't spend money for these. I ain't throwing these away. That's how Israel is. Stiff-necked and rebellious. This is a national sin. This transgression. As a nation, did not we fall away? As a nation, were not we sent into captivity? Because of the sins of our fathers? The transgressions of our fathers? Says it right there. It's a moral and religious sin. That's what got us in the condition we're in now. And Negroes won't get out of it. And it's easy. Just keep the laws and the statutes and the commandments. Come back to Jamaica, man. That's all the Father's asking you. But Israel won't do it. Look. 7684. That's why I put them on the screen. So anyone can say, no, that's not, you're making this up. That's just your opinion. No, it's not. This is right here a mistake or inadvertent transgression, an error in ignorance. This was unaware. This is unwittingly, but it's still a sin nonetheless. And it can still get your life taken nonetheless, even though it was an error, even though you didn't mean it, you did it in ignorance. So, let's see what the internet says about transgression, because I did look it up there too. Let me see if I can find that one. Hold on, because I do have it. It's right here. Yeah, that's it. All right, so let's look at this. The internet says transgression. This is Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Transgression, definition, an act, process, or instance of transgressing, such as, and then it goes into that, and it gives you the how to use transgression in a sentence. But look at the next one. Transgress. What does the definition say that one is? To violate a command or a law. It is sin. That's what Merriam-Webster says. This is on the internet, right? We're not even using the scriptures now. We're looking at what the world knows this. Even the world knows this. So much so that Merriam-Webster says that it's transgressing the law is sin. The dictionary.com says transgression definition, an act of transgressing, violation of a law or command. Wait a minute. I thought the commandments were done away with. If the commandments are done away with, then that means that there is no more sin, which means that there's no more law. But if sin is still in the world, then that means that there's still a law being broken, thereby the commandments are being broken because the law is being broken. You don't get to have it your way. This is not Burger King. The Father says, keep my statutes, laws, and commandments. You don't get to not do so. And if you do, you are transgressing the law. Don't care who you are. Okay? It's right there. You can go on the internet and look it up for yourself. And that's what's so amazing about this. The Cambridge English, I was taking pictures out of my my Zondervan Bible Dictionary, and I was going to load them up, and I said, you know what, I'm not working this hard for these Negroes. I'm not doing it. I said, Father, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing it. I'm tired. Like you tired, I'm tired. But every time I turn around and give these people evidences, not only out of your word, but just what if the world knows it's true, they don't want to hear it. I'm not going to put it out there because this is spoon feeding babies. If you don't go, I'm giving you golden nuggets. All you got to do is go pull the golden nugget and see it for yourself. But if you don't go and see it for yourself, you'll never do it. You'll sit back and you'll do the same thing you do every day for the rest of your doggone life. You go sit up in a church and let a pastor read one verse to you for an hour, and you come out and, boy, we sure had a good time. Didn't learn a thing. Go home all week long, looking at your book, sitting on the living room table, won't pick it up, won't read it, know nothing. Walk back up in there on Sunday next and do it all over again. And you will swear that you are in the Lord's service. Talking about, I'm going home. I tell you where you're going, but you're not going home. 2nd Ezra 7:21. Start reading from there until the end. And you will find what will happen to you when your spirit leaves your body. So if you read 2nd Ezra chapter 7, 21 through the end, and you wake up on a Sunday and you go to church, you deserve the lake of fire. If you don't start keeping the statutes, laws, and the commandments, you deserve the lake of fire. Because those scriptures tell you exactly what's going to happen to you when the spirit leaves the body. When I saw it, I was crushed. Because when the Father showed it to me, my father had just died. And I broke down and cried for my dad. I said, oh no. And I say the same thing for my mother. I say the same thing for my sister and any other family member who refuses to listen, because I'm done now. So after I finish with this one, you know, they'll probably watch it. They'll say that nigga's crazy. He done lost his mind. But that's okay, because, you know, I got family that's married outside of the nation, and they've got Mamzar children, and you know, there's a lot of that with us. But I'll be the crazy one. I'll be the nutcase. But I'm fighting hard to get me a white robe, and I can guarantee you, you won't have one. And if you say you're going to meet me in the lake of fire, okay. But if I make it there, at least I was trying not to. You're not even trying not to. You're going full hog all the way there. You're not even trying not to. See, some of us are going to go anyway, even though we're trying. But the Father knows, and he's the one that's going to do the separating, because he knows your heart. He knows. See, the Greek translate the heart, the mind. The heart knows nothing. It's just a muscle. It's your mind. Your seat of your emotions is in your head, not in here. This is just a muscle. All it does is pump blood. It doesn't know anything. You don't know a phone number by heart. You know it by memory. Memory's in here. That's why the forehead has to get sealed. He didn't say anything about sealing up your heart, did he? He has to seal up your forehead. What's in your head? What's in there? You are in there, looking out through these eyes. So Cambridge knows what's in the situation. Cambridge knows. Okay. And so this is the thing that gets me the most, because wow, did we move this? I think we did. How do I get that back? Okay. I'm going to try to do it like this. Now, we can go to over to Luke 17, and we can see something really quick. I want you to see Luke 17. Let me go back over here first. I almost went somewhere else. Oh, why are you not changing? Because I need to be here. Okay, so Luke 17. And the reason why I pull this up, this is BibleHub.com. And you can look at this in Bible Hub, and you can see exactly what's going on. And what it says is, watch yourselves. If your brother or sister sins, rebuke him. And if he repents, forgive him. If he doesn't repent, keep it pushing. This is the same thing that that Yeshua told the disciples when he sent them out 2 by 2. He says, go not into the way of the Gentiles. Don't go into any of the cities of the Samaritans. I'm going to show you this later too. He said, but go into the lost sheep of the house of Israel. In other words, he wasn't concerned about anybody else in the world. So that for God so loved the world, that doesn't even matter, because he wasn't concerned about the world. Israel, the nation of Israel, was the world he was concerned about. No one else. He told him not to go to the Samaritans or the Gentiles. The Gentiles are everybody in the world other than the house of Israel. He says, go not but unto the house of Israel, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He says, if they receive you, let your peace, your shalom, come upon the place. But if they don't receive you, then take your shalom back and don't even leave it with them. So let me show you this. He says, so watch. If your brother or your sister sins against you, rebuke them. If they repent, forgive them. That's the New Living Translation. This is Gentiles interpreting our words. Okay? So watch yourselves. If another believer sins, rebuke that person. Then if there is repentance, forgive. That's the English Standard Version. Pay attention to yourselves. If your brother sins, rebuke him, and if he repents, forgive him. That's the Berean Study Bible. Watch yourself. If your brother sins, rebuke him, and if he repents, forgive him. That's the Berean Literal Bible. Take heed to yourself. If your brother should sin, rebuke him. And if he should repent, forgive him. That's the New American Standard Bible. Be on your guard. If your brother sins, rebuke him. And if he repents, forgive him. That's the King James. Take heed to yourself. If thy brother trespass against thee, trespass. Wait a minute. Hold up. Hey, wait a minute. Now, trespass. Did we just go through trespass? We were just looking at trespass. What is trespassing? A trespass is a transgression of the law, which is what? A sin. That's what this just said. That's what this just said. Now, I just showed it to you over there. Okay? And over here again, it says trespass. Okay? Now. This is not even rocket science. You can teach this to a 5-year-old, they'll get it. Be on your guard. If your brother sins, rebuke him. If he repents, forgive him. That's a contemporary English Bible. So be careful what you do. Correct any followers of mine who sin. What is sin? Transgression of the law. And forgive the ones who say they are sorry. That's the Good News Translation. That's when they break it all the way down to the sorry, sick, little pitiful English, because the knuckleheads I can't read the King James. It's just too hard for me. I don't get it. I don't. And the Most High is looking at us, and he's shaking his head. He's like, I got some people out there really trying, and I got some idiots who just don't. That's why 2/3 are going to die. That's why there'll only be 144,000. And all the other people that you hate so much, the ones you call crackers and hunkies, they're going to be taking your seat. They're going to be in your seat. Why? Because you refuse to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. I tell you this right now. In the nation of Israel, right now, there are people who understand. They say to themselves, I'd rather be a servant in the Father's house. They know they're going to be under us and serving us. They know. They said, you know what? Rather than miss what's coming, I'd rather be a servant. I'm cool. I'm with you, man. What do I have to do? We have Caucasians, Europeans. They're not even Caucasians. We have Europeans, pale faces, pinkies, who are willing to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, and you're not. This is your history, your scriptures, and you're not even willing to take back what was rightfully yours in the first place. No, I'm just going to hang on to my little slave Bible and I'm going to be cool. Yeah. You can do that. They know better. Okay? Watch what you do. If your brother sins, rebuke him, and if he repents, forgive him. That's enough of that. That is enough of that. Just so that you know that you can go online and you can find it. It's right there for you. Okay? Let me tell you something. I'm so hardcore in what I was doing that I went to did this come up? Let me see. Wow, did I get it? I don't think I got it. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. I want to try to do this because I want you to see what I was doing. And where is it? Right here. Let's do this. There we go. I was out. This is the kind of stuff I do. I was out on Google Earth. Okay. Out on Google Earth. And let me slide this over a little bit. Let's do this. There we go. Now, there are 7 churches that are listed in the book of Revelation, and they're all talked about what's going on with them. Okay. Now, in the book of Revelation, it says to the church of Philadelphia, to the church of Sardis, to the church of Thyatira, to the Laodiceans, to Philadelphia. Okay, and this is what I was doing. I was using the map. And unless you do this kind of research, you're not going to find it. You're not going to find it. I'm going to, let me see if I can. Let me see if I can. Oh, here we go. I'm going to see if I want to blow this up a little bit more for you. Just, I don't want to get them all out of there, but I want you to see. So what I was doing was, as you can see, Ephesus at the bottom. This is, all of this is in Turkey. Okay, this whole area is Turkey, which used to be called Pergamos. Okay, there's Sardis, there's Philadelphia, there's Thyatira. I had a little difficult time finding Philadelphia because it's no longer called Philadelphia. Sardis is not called Sardis anymore. Thyatira is not called Thyatira anymore. Ephesus is still there because there's an old city of Ephesus, is the old city. And Izmir is called Izmir now, but it didn't used to be called Izmir. It was something else. And so I left that one in there because I wasn't going to change it. I said, when I show this to these Negroes, see, they're so used to being spoon fed. I'm not going to give you everything. You're going to have to do your own research and figure out who Izmir was. Okay. But I put enough of it in there. There's 7 of them, and I did 5. So there's 2 more to be found if you think you just might want to try. But this is the kind of things that I do. This is how I research. See, and if you got the right Google go back 100,000 years. So, it's not difficult. You just have to put in the work. You have to want to. You have to want to. And most people don't want to. They want to be spoon-fed. Just put the applesauce in I'm going to lay here, and you just get a spoonful of applesauce and stick it in my mouth, and I'll just chew it slowly and swallow it. You see, I do that for my mother now because she can't do that for herself. But you lazy Negro, I'm not doing it for you. I'm not doing it for you. I'm not going to chew your food and then take it out of my mouth and put it in yours. I'm not doing it. No, you got to chew your own food and swallow it. You see, but you probably won't do that. And that's why you'll be one of the 2/3 that's on their way out of here. Now, I really, I got to go into this because, now we're here and I got to get there. Okay. I want to read this. It's highly necessary in order for us to understand where we're at and what we're going and where we're going. Question. Real quick. Sparkle, are you in Messenger? Because it looks like you're typing, and I'm not sure if you are. But if you're not, then here, let me reset this and see if it has you typing, because it looks like, or maybe you are. Okay. Well, anyway, look at this. Revelations 14:1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. The name is written in their foreheads. Is it written on their hearts? No, it's written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers, harping with their harps. 14:3. And they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne and before the 4 beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000, which were redeemed out of the earth. These people came out of the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Now that's the King's Good English. I hope that didn't lose you right there. That just means wherever. These follow the Lamb wherever he goes. But the King's Good English says whithersoever. Whithersoever. Don't be lost. These were redeemed from among men, being the firstfruits of Yahweh and unto the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of the Elohim, your power. The messages of the 3 angels, I'm sorry if I'm throwing you off, because this terminology is not our original terminology. we never called our Elohim God. That was not his name. That's a title. Elohim that's the, never mind. Go read Genesis. Revelation 14:6, and I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people. Now, we went through this before when we did Matthew 24, talking to you about who nations are and kingdoms are and kindreds and all of that, right? So I'm not even going to go into that. Do your own research. The honeymoon is over. Saying with a loud voice, fear Yahweh, and give glory to him, for the hour and his judgment is come. And worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, the great city, because she made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, our power, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night. This is those who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name. I can almost guarantee you that everybody who's involved in Sunday worship, going to church, not keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, they will all take the mark. Every last one of them will take the mark. Oh, they'll sit here and tell you, I'm not going to receive, I'm not going to sell out, I'm not going to take the mark. Yeah, you're going to take the mark. How do I know? Because you're already prepping for it now. You go to church. You've sidestepped the Hebraic laws that the scriptures tell you have to keep. The Father says, I'm the same yesterday, today, and forever. That means he doesn't change. He says, I don't change. So who changed it for you? And you followed it. Who changed it? Because he didn't. We're going to get to that. Okay. I got you. I'm reading you. So, let's go to this. Let's continue. Okay. And so, right here, I want you to see this. Revelation 14:12. Somebody tell me, because, see, this is the end of the world. You know, judgment is about to happen. People are about to get their robes and their crowns. Because Babylon has already been knocked off. The 144,000 have been redeemed out of the earth. And who are they? Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the what? This is Revelation. We're not even in the Old Testament. This is at the end. This is when the Mashiach is telling you what's going on. They keep the what? Go run this past your pastor. This is the end of the book. There's nothing left after this. Right here is when the rewards get handed out. And the rewards are handed out to who? They that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yehoshua, his son. Oh, don't get all twisted. It says Jesus. Yeah, it says Jesus. That's what the pinkies want you to believe it says. That's what the people who stole your history book and rewrote it and handed it back to you, you slave, reading the slave Bible. That's what they called him. Do you know who Jesus is? All right, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show you something. I'm going to show you something. Okay. Now this is 14. We're going to go to 14:12. Here we go. 14:12. Okay. And we're going to look at this word right here that you call Jesus. Right? You see, the letter J didn't come into existence until 1630. So the first scriptures that you have that were given to man was the Bishop's Bible and the Brenton. What does Bishop say? You see a J there? The Bishop's Bible came out long before the King James. Okay? There's the Brenton. Here's the Geneva. What does the Geneva say? See this? Do you see this? Okay? Because I know you see this, right? And so, is there a J there? No, there's not. And now let's look at the 1611. Is there a J there? The J didn't come into existence until 1630. So where do you get Jesus from? Jesus is Zeus. Zeus. This is not Yehoshua. This is not Yeshua. This is Zeus. They have you thinking that Jesus is Yehoshua. And it's not. It's Zeus. That's a Greek word. And for every book that came out prior to the 1611, see, you have to do research to figure this stuff out. You have to read to figure this stuff out. You can't just automatically just go off on your own and just, I pray to Jesus. See, like my sister said, what's the name of the Father? Messiah. That's a person who doesn't read. You're parroting what somebody told you, and because you couldn't figure it out, then you get mad at me. Don't be mad at me for telling you the truth. Negro, go read. I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. So good or bad, your works follow you. Okay? And there was no, and there never has been, and there never will be a person in the name of Jesus that walks on this planet. So if you're praying to somebody named Jesus, you are praying to a false God. Christianity is a false religion. Don't get mad at me. I showed you the video. In the 1400s, during the Spanish Inquisition, the Roman Catholic Church forced all the Jews to deny their Hebraic faith and pick up Christianity, or their children would be snatched from their arms and sold into slavery. Deuteronomy 28. The video is out there. The documents, and this is why only 144,000 of us are going to make it. Unfortunately, you won't be one of them. And that's a hard pill to swallow, you know, especially when I have to look at my family. Trust me, I was about to unload both barrels and go balls to the wall and just let them have it. So this was Wednesday when this occurred, and the father said, stop, pump your brakes. I understand how you feel, but that's not what we're about to do. We're going to do this. Because this, right now, this right here, this is the last measure. There's nothing else after this. This is the last measure. So, I have to say this. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the white cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown and in his hand a sharp sickle. The harvest is about to occur. He's wearing a crown and he's got the sickle in his hand. He's about to stick it in and thrust it. Another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, "Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe." You see this? The angels are ready for it to be over with. Tired of watching this. Man, just harvest it. Get it done. Come on. He's waiting. And I read this. The Father is so willing that none should perish. He's so willing to give you a chance. He's so willing for you to be in a position where you will not die. He's so willing for you to get it together. He's so willing, and he's waiting. But you won't get it together. And you know what? He's going to thrust in his sickle, and he's going to reap. And when he reaps, it's not going to be pretty for people. It's not going to be pretty. Oh, there's not going to be a rapture. There's no such thing as that. See, they took a word that meant sexual ecstasy and told you that that's what Jesus is going to use on you. He's going to come and rapture you out. He's going to be in rapture. Rapture is an erotic term, a Greek erotic term for sexual ecstasy. And they put that in your scriptures, and that's what you're waiting for? You're waiting for an orgasm? That's what it is. I mean, look, Anita Baker sang the song. Y'all don't play dumb. Caught up in the rapture of love. What do you think she was talking about? It had nothing to do with being spirited away. People are so dumb. They will not connect the dots and put two and two together. This stuff is around you. You just won't listen and you won't pay attention. That's why a lot of people are going to be lost. And he that sat on the cloud thrust his sickle in the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, which had the power over fire, and cried with a loud voice to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, "Thrust in thy sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe." It's time. Recess is over. It's time to go into class and get your grade. Teacher's ready. So I had to go there with that real quick. Okay. Hebrews 10:28 says that he that despises Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. And in 2 Corinthians, Paul was talking about the fact that 2 Corinthians 13:1, this is the third time I'm coming to you. And in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word shall be established. Matthew 18:16 says, "But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee 1 or 2 more that are," "But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee 1 or 2 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word shall be established." So when you're dealing with this word and you're dealing with people who don't want to listen, and someone transgresses, excuse me. Hold on. I have been battling a summer cold. I knocked it down pretty good. Periodically, I get a tickle in my throat. Take care of the tickle. So this is a case where you show someone the error of their ways. You have a beef with them. You take them before the magistrates, the judges in the city. See, the way it used to be in Israel, um, if I had this situation go on between sister and I, we'd go see the elders. And if they deemed her wrong, they stoned her in the street. Some people better be glad we don't live like that anymore, because there'd be a whole lot of dead folk right now for the things they're doing. This lasciviousness and sexual abomination, and you want to be trans and all this other little stuff going on. Experimenting, girls with girls, boys with boys. Yeah, I got that in the family too. That's another reason why I don't deal with these Negroes. They allow their children, the boys, to wear makeup and they look like girls. And everybody says it's cool, including my sister. So, and it's not. That tells me you don't read. You don't study. You go right along with the world. The world says it's cool to get your peanut butter packed. It's cool to get your carpet munched. Right, sis? But it's not, because the scripture says it is not. And this is the reason why a lot of what we see going on in our communities and in our neighborhoods today is because of the way that we're living. We don't know who we are. And when someone comes along and tries to tell us, then the first thing you want to do is put a bullet in our head and get rid of us. That is a spiritual war against us. The very fact that we have to fight our own people to try to wake them up to who they really are. When they want to kill us, that's a demon behind them that's trying to shut us up so that we won't influence anyone else. That's what that is. So we have to walk circumspectly. We have to know who it is that we're talking to. We just can't go to anyone at any given time because, the days are wicked. And the people are even more wicked in the days in which we're in. So, if you're not being led to open your mouth to someone, you might want to keep it shut because you don't know if there's a demon behind them right now that's ready to take you. I've always said to Father, bring the person to me that you want to hear this and give me the green light, because I'm too stupid to know who. I don't know who. I'll talk off the wrong person and end up getting popped. You have to send an angel to come, do the Neo on me so I can miss the bullet or something. I mean, I don't know, because I can't see into that realm what that angel or that demon is trying to do. I can't see into that, so you can't just arbitrarily run around running your mouth. You got to be careful in these days, because that just might be the person who'll turn you into the magistrates when you get delivered up. You just don't know. So you have to preach the kingdom and repentance. So I'll talk this way to my family because I know that I can. But outside, you've got to be even more careful. Okay? So that's the thing I'm trying to say, right? And right. So let me get in here. Let me get in here because I was pulling out some scriptures, and as I was studying, I was running across things, and I said, and this is what the Father was dealing with me on, not so much like you got it all together. Your glorying is not good. Don't you know that a little bit of leaven leavens the whole lump? So that's the reason why I could not unload both barrels. See, this scriptures work with me the same way, And so when I'm doing my studies, good or bad, whether it's toward me or to whoever, I'm taking notes. I'm writing it down because it's relevant. It really is relevant. I cannot run around glorying like I know so doggone much, and that's what my sister was saying. And my thing was like, but I do know more than you about this. That's why I'm trying to show it to you, because I don't want to see you get lost. But the Father was like, stop. Give them enough. Stop spoon feeding them, because here you're not going to cast your pearls before swine. They're not going to accept it. Because if you put a gold ring in a hog's nose and he goes rooting around in the mud and lose the ring, oh well, you put it in the pig's nose. You know he root around in the mud. So don't get mad when your ring get lost. Same thing with the word. Some people are pigs. Some people are dogs. Dogs return to their vomit. Pigs lay out in the mud. So if you cast your pearls into the pig's sty or in the pig pen, and the pig go run around in the mud, you can't get mad when your pearls are lost. That's why the scriptures tell you, don't cast your pearls, this word, before swine. Now, swine it's just a term. It's a figure of speech. I'm not saying that anyone is a pig or whatever. But if they're not going to respect the word, they may as well be a pig. If they're not going to respect the law, statutes, and commandments, they may as well be a pig or a dog, because those are the ones that are outside the kingdom. They're not in the kingdom. They're going to be outside, and they're going to meet the lake of fire. So the Father's telling me, your glorying is not good. Don't glory over this. You know, he's dealt with me before about praying for mercy for your enemies and the whole nine, and that's where this was coming down from. You know, purge out, therefore, that old leaven, that you may be a new lump. He's talking to me, you know. And this is the reason why I have to put the family away. This is the reason why I have to cut them off. That's how you purge out the old leaven. That's how you purge it out. So that I can be a new lump, I got to get away from them. Completely and totally. It's a wrap. It's over. It's done. As you are unleavened, for even Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. Therefore, let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice or wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. And this is Paul said, I wrote unto you an epistle not to company with fornicators, yet not altogether with the fornicators of this world, or with the covetous, or extortioners, or idolaters, for that you must needs go out of the world. You have to leave the planet. He says, but now I have written unto you not to keep company of any man that is called a brother. So if somebody is running around saying that they are Hebrew, they are the house of Israel, if they be a fornicator, or covetous, or an idolater, or a railer, or a drunkard, or an extortioner, with such a one don't even eat. You got to put them away from you. He says, so what do I have to do to judge those that are outside? That's what without means. You're not even in the faith. You're outside the faith. He says, do not ye judge them that are inside the faith? He says, but them that are outside, God judges. Therefore, put away for yourselves that wicked person. They're already outside. So why are you going to hang out with them? Get rid of them. Get them out of your world. Get them out of your life. So that's what I was struggling with. And I said to you guys last week, you know, give me a reason. Show me that I'm wrong. Show me I'm wrong. See, I didn't wait for you to tell me, no, brother, you wrong about that one. You should, you should wait. I didn't wait. I'm in my scriptures looking. Father, show me, show me, show me, show me. And when he showed me this, I had read this before. I already knew this, but this just confirmed. I mean, I have been teaching this and talking about this for years. But then he had to show me that this right here, this is for you right now. This is for you right now. Right? And so when I saw it, I said, okay. Because it's right there. It's right here. Purge out the old leaven. See, someone said to me just a couple of days ago, I think it was Wednesday when all this occurred, that the people of your family are those who think like you think and those who believe like you believe. It's not necessarily your blood. And that's the reason why the Father gives us mother figures, father figures, sister, brother figures, why we get husbands, why we get wives, so that we can come together as a community and leave all those who don't believe outside. So we're inside, they're outside. And Let me. I gotta get Michael. Hold on for a second. I gotta get him. He's too loud outside. Too loud outside. Michael. Thank you. Thank you. So I was, as I get myself back together here, I was talking to someone about dog training. And dog training is a very arduous procedure. But when you get them from puppies, you can pretty much mold them into whatever you want them to be. You just got to spend a gang of time with them and have a lot of patience. Otherwise, they tend to get anxiety and they get a little high-strung and stressed. But mine, right now, when they're outside and I go to that door, I snap my finger. I don't have to say come here, or I just snap my finger. 2 o'clock in the morning, they're outside doing what they do, and it's time for them to come back in the house. I don't yell because it's 2 o'clock and there's people sleeping. I snap my finger. They know what that means. They come running. So, and I say that to say that, we should be that same way with our Father. And when he snaps his finger, we should come running. Well, Mashiach been snapping his finger for a long time. And Israel's not listening. And so when he thrusts in his sickle and the harvest happens, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people. And the scripture says, there's going to be a lot of people in that day say, Lord, Lord, man, I cast out demons in your name. Yeah, yeah, you did. Because his word can't come back void. You can use it. His word's it's gonna still have the power. It's gonna do it. But you know what? You didn't do it in the right spirit. You didn't do it in the right heart. I don't know you. You had the key to my kingdom and you started up my car and you drove it off. You bring it back and tell me all the good things you did while you was in my car, but I didn't know you had it. Who are you? Why you have my car? Give me my keys back. It's that kind of situation that people are going to be facing. But wait, I went shopping for your mama. I didn't ask you to do that. And how'd you run off in my car? Give my keys back. Get out of my car. Somebody grab him and put him over there. Little thief. It's going to be like that. Because I never knew you. You took my stuff and used it without my permission. I never knew you. Okay, yeah, you might have did some good things when you had it, but that doesn't make it right. So go stand over there till I get to you. It's going to be like that for a lot of people, and they're not going to be happy about it. So we see right here where if any be 5:11, right? If any man that is called a brother, this is a Hebrew. Because Christians can't be brothers. Christianity is a false religion. So if your brother, who's a Hebrew, out of these tribes, who's a brew out of these tribes, be a fornicator, covetous, an idolater, a railer, a drunkard, or an extortioner, and all the other things that go along with it, because we know what the fruits of the Spirit are, and we know what the fruits of the flesh are. When you find that out about them, you can't even eat with them. And you have to put that wicked person away from you. That's what the scriptures say. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So Ezekiel. The Father gave me this when I was 19 years old. There's a few of these Ezekiel as the watchman over Israel. But this particular one came to me just the other day when I was, doing my studies. So again, the word of Yahweh came unto me saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman, If when he see the sword come upon the land and he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever hear the sound of the trumpet and take not the warning, when the sword comes and takes him away, his blood is on his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet, and he didn't take the warning. He didn't care about it. His blood should be upon him. But he that taketh the warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman sees the sword come, and blows not the trumpet, and the people not be warned, and the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, and his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. So thou, son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth, and warn them from me. When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die, if thou dost not speak to warn the wicked of his way, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at your hand. Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, and he do not turn from his way, he will die in his iniquity, but you've delivered your soul. And then the question is asked. Therefore, O son of man, speak unto the house of Israel. Thus ye speak. Say, if our transgressions, this is how we started, talking about sin. If our transgressions and our sin be upon us, and we pine away in them, how shall we then live? Say unto them, as I live, saith Jehovah, your power, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. He's talking about the wicked of Israel. He's not talking about the world. He's talking about the wicked men of Israel, because he's only talking to the house of Israel here. That's what he says. I've set thee as a watchman upon the house of Israel. So I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. Turn ye from your evil way. For why will you die, O house of Israel? That's all 12 tribes. Why will you die? Why won't you do the commandments so easily set before you? That doesn't mean because some Edomite pastor told you that the law is done away with because of Christ on the cross. Christ himself said, I did not come to do away with the law. I came to fulfill it. So where do you get the law being done away with? If he's come to fulfill the law, where do you get the law being done away with? And then we read in Revelations that he's only coming for those who kept the commandments. And everybody else is going to die by the sword. We just read in Ezekiel. So, all we have to do to break these curses, and I've said this before, as a nation, we need to cry out to the Most High. He needs to hear us bewailing him just like it was in Egypt. He told Moses, the people are crying. I've heard their cry. I'm coming to deliver them. I can tell you now, these Negroes are not crying. They too busy twerking, boys being girls, girls being boys. They out here country line dancing. Nobody hardly. I can tell you, as I look around, it's a scary thought. Very few of us are going to make it out. And when he gathers up his wheats and his tares and takes everybody off into the wilderness, there's going to be a winnowing when we get there, because all the rebellious ones are going to be done away with. Because you can best believe, when we get out into that wilderness, they man, I want to go back to America. I don't want to be living out here in the middle of these deserts with these sheep and these cows and these camels, man. I want my gold things. I need to get my perv on, man. I need to get up out of here. All of them be done away with, because they've been Willie lynched. They think that that's what the world is about. They're not ready to do this. They're not going to do this. So that's what's so sad about it. It really is a sad state of affairs. I want to show you something because, let me see. Is this up? Let me see. Yeah, here we go right here. This here is crazy. Okay, so excuse me. So in the middle of my research, I came across this dude. That plane that he's standing in front of used to belong to Tyler Perry, the same one who gave $1 million to T.D. Jakes and laid hands on T.D. Jakes, and T.D. Jakes did the fake shake like he was getting the Holy Ghost, and I know you saw it. That's Tyler Perry's former plane. This man told his parishioners that he needed a plane. God told him that he was going to get this plane, and the partners had to help him get this plane. Okay, and that's what they did. They helped him get this plane. And I watched him and Jesse Duplantis. You know, I agree a little bit with some of what they're saying, but because I know that they're prosperity teachers and preachers, I don't agree with all of it. However, I do believe that they do need a way to travel that is uninhibited by commercial air. And if they have to fly commercial air, they probably can't get to a lot of the places that they need to get to do some of the evangelism that they're doing. I get that. But these are people who fleece the sheep. That's who these people are. Okay? They fleece the sheep. Now, let's see if we can watch this.
January the 12th, 2018, we took possession of the Gulfstream 5, and we give God praise for it and thanksgiving. It is debt-free. This is a debt-free airplane for Kenneth Copeland Ministries to do the work of the gospel all over the world. And we want you to stand in agreement with us right now. We're believing for the equipment necessary for this. We're believing for the extension of the runways, and also it needs a home. It needs a new hangar. So you stand in agreement with us as we believe God for that. Father, in Jesus' name, thank you for the fulfillment of this vision. And we praise you and honor you that you are supplying it. You are our source. In Jesus' name, amen.
Father, we thank you so, and I'm asking you now, sir, according to your word, bless our partners beyond measure. Yes, in the name of Jesus. For you said in 2002, I'm sending you new partners who are very strong financially, and they'll obey me. And I will increase your longtime partners, and they will obey me. And you will not come short, and you will not fail, and you will not lack, and you will not come behind, and you will not be diminished. Praise God. Isn't that good? Hallelujah. And it's coming to pass. You know what? Jesus is Lord.
All right. So that's fleecing the sheep. That is fleecing the sheep. Okay. How did Messiah get around? Right? He could have had camels and oxes, and most of the time he was walking, right? He didn't go with the luxury, you know. There were people who rode in chariots, and heck, Stephen was even dealing with the eunuch of Candace's, and he was riding in a chariot, reading the scriptures. Okay, but that's not how Yeshua got around. He didn't have a place to lay his head. Nobody was making his clothes, and he was showing us that we have to walk by that same kind of faith, but not these charlatans. Let me show you. Something else. This is him and Jesse Duplantis talking about the airplane. Okay.
Everybody, this is the Believer's Voice of Victory broadcast. I'm Kenneth Copeland. Let's have a word of...
That was Jerry Seville. Let me see if I can find him with Jesse Duplantis. Hold on real quick. Because I had that one up here. Where is it? Him and Jesse Duplantis talking about having this plane. That's Seville. Let me see. I think this is it right here. Bear with me. Yeah, that's it right there. That's him and Jesse. Now listen to them talking about this plane.
Everybody, welcome to the Believer's Voice of Victory broadcast. Jesse, you ready?
I'm ready.
Jesus is ready.
Yes,
Let's
indeed.
do it. Father, we thank you for the word today.
Yes,
and we receive it. We open our hearts and minds to the Spirit of the living God to reveal heaven, to reveal you, Lord Jesus.
Yes, Lord.
That's fake praying. I don't want to hear that. And this is not the one I'm looking for. Certainly look it up. I'm not even going to try to look it up right now. But they were actually having a conversation, sitting around the table, talking about the reason why they needed these airplanes in order to do what it is that they're doing. And because they can't travel commercially, or they didn't want to travel, he said boarding a plane, sitting in this long tube with a bunch of demons. So when it was said, Inside Edition called him on the tarmac the same day the plane was being delivered and asked him about it. And he went into this fake rhetoric, and he went from being a mean and nasty guy to all of a sudden being sweet and nice, and I was like, look at this fake charlatan here. See, when I was younger and I didn't know any better, I used to like Kenny Copeland. I used to go to one of the churches that he founded in Oakland, Shiloh Fellowship, and he would come through Shiloh all the time. But as I started to grow and learn more about these prosperity ministries and prosperity preachers, the Father started to show me that was not the road that he wanted me to go down, because I was searching, and when you're really searching, honestly searching, you might walk into some places and the Father, he's not going to hold it against you because you're really looking. I didn't go in there and get settled and be like, okay, this is the place for me, and then stay in that madness. I was actually looking. I was trying to find, the Father and where the Spirit lived. I was still searching. I was on my road. He was bringing me along, slowly, and I ended up here, and I'm so glad that I did. So, but I can't find that video. But if I do find it, I'll drop a link in here so that you'll be able to look it up, or I'll put something like says I found it, and then I'll put the link in there. But you can go find, Kenneth Copeland and Jesse Duplantis talking about the airplanes. I did have it at one point, and I just have not been able to put my hand on it. Let me see. Okay. Well, let's see. Here is let's see. Oh, here it is. I found it. Here it is. Here it is right here. I found it. I found it right here. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Hold on. Oop, let me stop that. Let me stop that. Let me get over here. Make sure you got it. Bring it up. So again, let me do this before we do that. Let me do this. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, and exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, and video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. Now, see, we have to do that because, and the video has one on it also, but I wanted to do my own as well. And here's the thing, because these are the people who are our oppressors, right? Who gave us a thing called the slave Bible. Right? And now that we no longer have a slave Bible, they want to continue to keep you underneath their spell, right? And by keeping you under their spell, they're able to get your money and your finances and use it in wicked ways. When the Father says that the shepherds are fleecing the sheep, okay? So listen to this. Let's listen to this.
But first, before I read the scripture, Amos chapter 6. Brother Copeland, I was flying home from a meeting, and I had come out of a glorious meeting. I had just finished, me and Creflo Dollar were preaching. Had a glorious meeting. So I was, for lack of a better way to say it, I was spiritually high. I said, people were saved, touched, and blessed. Got in the plane that God so graciously gave us, and we're flying home. As I was going home, the Lord, real quickly, he said, Jesse, do you like your plane? Now, I thought that's an odd statement. I said, well, certainly, Lord. He said, do you really like it? And I thought, well, yes, Lord. Then he said this, so that's it? I didn't know how to handle it. I went, what? He said, you're going to let your faith stagnate? Now, when he said that, that shocked me. I went, whoa, wait. I literally unbuckled my seatbelt, my plane. I stood up. My pilots looked at me and said, do you need something? I said, no, I'm talking to God right now. And he went back to flying. I said, Lord, I don't think I was letting my faith stagnate. He said, so this is all I could ever do. I said, you're trying to tell me something. He said, go to the book of Amos. So if you're at the book of Amos, I want to read the scripture.
May I interrupt you there for a second? Mm-hmm. You couldn't have done that on an airliner.
No, sir. No way.
Stand up and say, what'd you say, Lord?
No.
Okay, no, yeah. And the guy sitting over there saying, what the hell does he think he's doing? You can't do that.
You can't do that.
No. This is so important. And those of you that are just now coming into these things, in the first place, Jesse and I and others, Keith Moore and Creflo and all of us, the world is in such a shape, we can't get there without this.
That's right.
We've got to have this. We would have, the mess that the airlines are in today, I would have to stop. I'm being very conservative. At least 75 to 80, more like 90% of what we're doing, because you can't get there from here.
It's impossible.
So and this was such a good illustration. I just the Lord impressed me. That's why we're on that airplane. We can talk to God.
Glory to God.
It's when I was flying for Oral Roberts, the Brother Deweese, my boss on the airplane, he said, "Now, Kenneth, this is sanctuary. It protects the anointing on Brother Roberts." And he said, "You keep your mouth shut. Don't talk to him unless he talks, because when he's on a meeting, he doesn't talk to anybody but God." Now, Oral used to fly airlines,
right?
But even back there then, man, it got to the place where it was agitating his spirit.
Sure.
People coming up to him. He had become famous, and they wanting him to pray for him and all that. You can't manage that today.
Right.
This dope-filled world.
Right.
And get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Right. That's exactly the
and
point.
It's deadly.
And he works on you hard. It really does.
So anyway, I wanted to make that clear so the devil can't lie to you and say, "See there, them preachers spending all that money, just fat cats riding around." No, we're not. We're in business to do. Listen, I could scratch my flying itch with my little single-engine open cockpit airplane.
Right.
I just come home and fly around in that and scratch my flying itch.
Okay, I don't want to hear any more from this guy on this level right here. But I wanted to use that to illustrate, what's really going on. So you can see that these guys are they're prosperity preachers. Okay, I listen to this guy talk now, and he turns my stomach because I know he's lying. And because I know he's lying, it doesn't. Okay, you can, if you can't see through it, then these are the people that we flock to on Sunday mornings. Okay, it's pastors and preachers. See, it's not anyone that is teaching anything out of the scriptures from a Hebraic standpoint. We have a few of them out here that are doing that. Okay, but for anybody else who's going and they're sitting in a church on Sunday morning, these are the guys you're listening to. These are the cats that are, because this guy here, that Kenneth Copeland dude, he's the one who put Creflo Dollar on, right? Kenneth Copeland it was his money that put Fred Price on. I used to be at Crenshaw Christian Center when it was a little Crenshaw Christian Center before it grew into ever increasing faith in a 15,000 person stadium. Okay, these are the cats that put them on. Okay, and when Fred found out what was going on and decided he wanted to teach us people about being Hebrews, they pulled their money out from underneath him. Fred was a little smarter. He had put some coin away, and he was able to keep his thing going and keep it going. But when they pulled their money out, his thing almost died. His son is running it now, and they still run it kind of on this level. But they kind of speak to a little bit of Hebraic truth, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. He's not there. But these are the guys who put him on. These are the guys who put Eddie Long on. All the mega pastors and mega churches, these are the guys that put them on. Okay? So he got caught out of pocket by Inside Edition. You can see it right here. Full interview. Preacher Kenneth Copeland defends his lavish lifestyle. Okay? And I'll play you a few pieces of that.
How are you, sir? We'd just like to ask you about why you don't want to fly commercial. Why have you said that you won't fly commercial? You said that it's like getting into a tube with a bunch of demons. Why do you think that?
Watch.
No, listen to me just a second. Not the people. The main reason
Evil smile.
is because of the need. If I flew commercial, I'd have to stop 65% of what I'm doing. That's really the main.
Isn't it true that you want to fly commercial so that you can fly in luxury? How much money did you pay for Tyler Perry's Gulfstream jet, for example?
Well, for example, that's really none of your business. But
Is it the business of your donors?
listen,
Now he's going to try to be nice. Look at that
you
evil
kind of
smile.
caught me off guard here. Okay.
So, yeah, go ahead and watch that on your own. It's a full interview. Preacher Kenneth Copeland defends his lavish lifestyle. But these are the charlatans that we fight to stay under Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. This is why Israel is in the condition that it's in, because we won't let these oppressors go. See, I can sit here and tell Israel what's going on. Jediah Malek can sit here and tell Israel what's going on. Pete the Messenger can get out here. Roy Nabi, all these people can get out here and tell Israel what's going on, but they won't listen to us. They'll listen to him, though. They'll follow him straight off a cliff. Okay? And see, and me, I'm not even trying to reach the masses. I'm mostly talking to my family and my friends. And then I come here and I tell you my experiences and what's going on with that. But they will follow this guy off a cliff. I have nieces and nephews who will follow this guy off a cliff right now. They will not listen to you. If your face is the color of mine, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about, but you trust Massa. See, we're still locked in the slave mentality. We're still locked in the slave mind. We're still on the plantation. And won't come off. And that's the problem with us. We won't come off the plantation. And if you don't come off the plantation, you're going to die. You're going to die. So let me take you through something that was happening. Okay, last week. I had just gone through a morning of my mother having seizures, and I was talking with the nurses and the doctors about the type of medication that I wanted to put her on that would help prevent the seizures. And we have a medication now that we use that whenever she has it, they drop it under her tongue in 30 seconds, the seizure is over with. But I'm like, listen, I don't want to wait for her to have a seizure. You know, I mean, that could be the one that kills her. So isn't there a medication we can use that won't sedate her and have her all drugged up, not knowing who she is or anything? What can we use that will help prevent the seizures and she can have some sort of quality of life? Look, my mama's going to leave here eventually. But I promised her that I would do everything I could to take care of her while she's here. Okay? I promised my mother I would take care of her. I can't take care of my mother. Excuse me, I'm trying not to get emotional here. I can't take care of my mother the way I want to because I don't have the help I need to take care of my mother. And now my mother's in a position where she can't travel. So I can't even go where I want to go to take care of her because she can't travel now. Okay? So mom was having these seizures, and I was dealing with her nurses. They were calling me every 20 minutes while I was at work. And they're trying to keep me informed and keep me up to date, telling me what's going on with mama because that's the relationship that I have with them, and that's the thing that I've done over there with me to get there. We're going to do what we're going to do, but you need to inform me. Keep me informed. And it was in 1999. I think I had told somebody it was 1996. It was actually 1999 when my sister called me and told me. And I mean, I dropped everything. It cost me everything. I was with a young lady at the time who just had a baby. She didn't just have the baby. But it was a kid that wasn't mine. Not the first time I've been with someone who had children that weren't mine. So I had this little family thing that I was doing. I was playing in this band. We were getting pretty popular and locally and doing some things. And the job that I had, and had a couple of cars, motorcycle, and house, and so I lost all of that messing around with the family. I ended up catching a DUI in 1999 because I was over a friend of mine's house crying in my beer over the fact that I had just walked away from everything in order to come help my family. And I had once again let my sister talk me into coming to the rescue of the family. And when I did so, I lost everything. I lost everything. And I was tired of running to a family that continually rubbed excrement in my face like they do now. And then telling me that I was wrong for the way that I felt about it. They can never understand why I walked away from a family for almost 20 years, and my sister gave me hell for it. So I'm saying this because I had asked the community out there, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Since I didn't hear from anybody, I did my own studies and my own searches, and this is what I came away with. So when I was told, brother, mom's is about to retire, and we want to put a mobile home back on the land. So we had this family land that we didn't really grow up on it, but we had it. And she said, we need your help to clear it, and I'll take care of mama if you keep up the lot. And I wasn't going to do it. I was not about to do it. I was not about to do it. And I kept praying about it and kept praying about it and kept praying about it. And I finally went and did it. Okay? Because it was for mama. Or so I thought. And so I went and my whole world fell apart. I caught a case, messing around with these Negroes. But in the midst of that, Adonai had other plans for me. And nothing ever came of the plans that they had laid out for the property. You know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Mama's going to retire. We're going to put another mobile home up here. And I'm going to take care of Mama when she retires. And, you know, you just take care of the lot and, you know, keep things running smooth. And I said, yeah. You know, I always said, yeah, I'll take care of the outside. You take care of Mama. Yeah, see, that's what she told me. You know, I'm going to take care of Mama. Right? That's what my sister said to me. Okay? And I'm in the middle of a field. After I walked away from everything. House, car, family, whole nine. So, what happened was I went from the camper to a little travel trailer. And then eventually I ended up getting a single wide mobile, about 14 by 70, I think it was, something like that. I never got any help on the property. I had to dig a trench from the mobile down to the street where the power and the water was. I trenched that all out by myself. Set that single wide up on the property. Never did that before. Did it by myself. No one ever came. I was up there by myself. Me and my Rottweiler. And my sister eventually came out there. She eventually got overran by field rats and field mice, and it was ruined. There was another time she came to live with me. We were supposed to be splitting the bills. She told me, no, you told me you were going to take care of everything. She went off and bought a brand new car. And when I told her, well, my income tax was earmarked for something else, I didn't think I was going to be paying your bills. She told me, well, you got your income tax, pay it. And then I told her, get out. And 3-4 years ago, when I realized that Mama needed help, I asked her to come here with me. I was willing to put aside all of that stuff that I had been through with her to have her come here with me. And so then the other day, that got thrown up in my face. When I asked her to come help me take care of Mama, she said, I have a life now. I'm not coming. And then she threw that up in my face. You're not taking care of Mama. Somebody else is taking care of Mama. She's in a facility. And I'm like, yeah, Mama's in a facility because you're not here. Because I could have brought Mama home a long time ago. And I got witnesses. People know this. Her social workers. Adult Protective Services knows it. They all know that I could have brought Mama home if I had help. And they were going to release her to me and let me bring her home because she needs 24-hour care, but I can't bring her home because there's no one here to take care of her. And her daughter is not here, who should be here. And so, because of all of that, this is the reason why I have to divorce myself from the family. This is why I have to get the leaven out. You understand? And it's a hard thing to do. You know, the we just read it over here, and you know that when you find someone that is not willing to do their part, you know, then why are you kicking against the prick? Why are you fighting this? You know, I mean, what is the point? What is the point? I I don't know what else can be said or what else can be done about this, other than the fact that this is why Israel is in the condition that it's in now. Because we just will not let go of our niceties and the things that we love so much? Why can we not get rid of the leaven? Why can we not straighten out our lives? Why do we keep company with these people who are idolaters and fornicators and railers and drunkards and extortioners when we're told not to even eat with them? When they're running around eating pork chops and ham sandwiches and they don't want to keep the commandments. They don't want to do anything. All they want to do is stay here in Babylon and keep their niceties. When the scriptures tell us clearly right here, get these people away from you. But we wouldn't have to get them away from us if they would stop doing those things, and Israel won't. Man, there's people out here, my brother Ashir is out here blowing a trumpet on the wall, saying, come back to Zion. And they won't. We're pleading with our family members. I know you are, and they don't want to hear you. They want you to come to Christmas dinner and Thanksgiving. They want you to do Easter. They want you to do everything except the laws, statutes, and commandments. And look at you crazy when you tell them no. That's why we're still under these curses. And we clearly have it in the scriptures, in the New Testament, that we're supposed to be keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. Israel, I'm crying for you right now and praying for you your last time, because I'm going to follow what the scriptures say and put that evil person away from me for good, for life. So it's a hard thing to do, but if I don't do it now, you'll forever have the power to take me down, and you can't have that. More than one occasion, more than 3 occasions in my life, family has done this, and it's not going to happen anymore. And even though it's a hard thing to do, it's something that needs to be done because the scriptures say so. I would have to leave the planet to get away from them. So the scripture says, just put that evil person away from you. It says it right there. God is the one who judges. Therefore, put away from among yourselves that wicked person, or those wicked people, or the wicked nation, whoever it is. If they're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, you got to kick rocks. When Mashiach, Yehoshua, was sent the 12 disciples out, and he told them to go not only into the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He said, if they hear you, fine. If they don't hear you, knock the dust off your feet and take back your peace. Don't even leave your peace there. Don't even Godspeed them. Take it back when you leave. Go read it. And so, for my house, I'm removing my peace and I'm shaking the dust off my feet. I'm shaking you out like a dirty rug. And I hate to have to do that, but in order for me to be who I need to be, you need to be gone. All of you. Like the old saying goes, I can do bad by myself. Yeah. I got the Most High that's watching my back, and I've got a couple of family members that he's given me. Family of my new tribe that's watching my back. I don't need what you're offering. I don't need it. And the scriptures clearly tell me that if you are identified as any one of those people, or even under the fruits of the Spirit, we know what the fruits of the flesh is and the fruits of the Spirit are. You're operating under the fruits of the flesh, got to put you away. You going to Sunday church, you offering up your children to Molech. I got to put you away. Can't do it. So that's all I have, Mishpachah. And I'm glad that we got to hang out a little bit, and you got to hear some of what's been going on. And if it's been a blessing to you, and you got something out of it, then okay. But I just wanted to bring you up to speed on what was going on with me and where I am right now. I don't know how much longer my mother has. Pray for my mama, you guys. Pray that the Father will have mercy on her. And pray for me, pray for my family. And just hold us up. Only the Father knows what's going to happen, what He's going to do with us. Because here we are, and it is what it is. And it's probably the same or very similar in your families. So, we'll just let that go. I want to thank you so much for hanging out. And I hope that everybody gets what they're looking for as we move through this, in this terrible time, this troubled time. So if it's peace, I pray the Most High brings that to you. If it's patience, I pray the Most High brings that to you. Whatever it is, keep your head down and your hands up.